I am here with top 4 local legend, Jared. My man, congratulations on your top 4, man. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself as anything, but...
So I'm Jared. You can find me on Instagram at RareHuntersTCG. We play One Piece, and we came top 4 in the Birmingham regional, and we had a good run with BOATBEARD. Basically, I chose BOATBEARD because I thought it was strong into the meta. It's got a lot of strong removal options for like low to the ground decks like Law and Zoro, and I feel like it has a really strong mirror match into Strawbeard, so that's the reason I chose to bring it. This is the list. We've got the Moby Dicks, that's the core of the deck, plus 2k to everything, Guard Point, Seaquakes, Whitebeard Pirates, Radical Beams. So this is pretty standard. Seaquake is like usually between a 2 to a 4. I wanted to go up on it, but it's kind of hard to find the space. This was a tech, could have been a third Seaquake, but I wanted to give the deck a toolbox option so that I could find like a lot of different, a lot of different tools for the right scenario. So so the whole idea of the deck is basically to drop your 9-drop. So you want to basically play your blockers early game, and basically protect your life. It's almost a similar playstyle to Strawbeard. So I chose to play the top end stuff that a lot of Moby Dick builds aren't running, because I feel like it gives you a really strong matchup into like a lot of common decks like Law and Zoro. So the tournament run was good. We played a lot of Law. I thought Law was going to be one of the most represented decks going into it, and it was. And I was glad that I chose to play the 9 cost because it really helped in that matchup. We had a good run. So I don't know, but I feel like I'm rambling.
No, it's good. It's good. I mean, like I think the thing was with Whitebeard, the lists are usually fairly standard. It's just about like good play.
So all right. So let's talk about how the list deviates from like other lists. So I've seen a lot of Moby Dick lists that don't play any top end stuff at all. Like the highest cost card they play is King Ju. They drop the ace and they drop the Newgate. But I just feel like they're like the most broken cards in the deck.
Agreed.
Like literally, like the fact that you can play a rush card that can swing for 9k when Moby Dick's active and can like easily clear board, or combo with your removal options like Seaquake or Newgate if you've already got it on the board. It's just so broken. It just like the weakness of this deck is going into like a ton of blockers, and the fact that you have a lot of removal options for low cost blockers gives you the option to play the game. Like even against Law, they have the 6k 5-drop blocker. You have the option to just drop the ace and then just Seaquake it away. Or if you've already got a Newgate on the board, you drop the ace, you put 2 Don on Newgate. You can actually clear two Law blockers if you've got a Seaquake as well. That's a 10 Don play. So I feel the top end gives you a lot of versatility. Also, I feel the weakness of the Moby build, the pure Moby build, is that if you don't see the Moby, you're just playing a shit deck. It's like you just instantly lose. But the way I play it, it's like even if you don't see the Mobies, you can still play it like a Strawbeard and just counter out and just get to your 9 cost turn. So you have the option to play both ways. And what's really nice about this deck is that as soon as your opponent sees Moby Dick, they're not even trying to swing into your life. So you basically get to play Newgate for free on like 1 life. So when you play Newgate on 1 life, your leader gets plus 2k, Moby Dick is at plus 2k, you're swinging for 10k with your leader. So you just put a lot of pressure on life, and it makes it hard for like Strawbeard or like Kinemon or whatever decks that like to play high cost cards. They can't even play the high cost cards because you're putting so much pressure on their life that if they tap 10 Don to play a high cost card, they're not going to be able to defend themselves the next turn. So really with this deck, it's like super aggro. Like you're not even swinging for board. Like you're literally just going face all the time. And yeah, that's probably where the build really deviates, is in the top end of the deck. I felt like the Nami, I was on hybrid before, I had the Namis, and basically I felt like they weren't giving enough versatility. Like the search option of Nami in this deck is very weak, because it doesn't give you a lot of variety in the cards that it can search. It only really searches defensive cards, and the opportunity cost of playing the Nami is that you end up bottom decking all of your like Whitebeard stuff, which are the cards that you actually need to play the game. So I realized that Nami wasn't the play basically, and I really like the value that you get out of the Blenheims, because basically they're like a chopper that you can curve out with them with your even stuff like Atmos and stuff. If you're on 6, you can go like Atmos into Blenheim, so it helps you with your curve. It's a blocker that helps you get to your 9 cost Newgate turn, and it also swings for 5k, so it still puts pressure on the board. So I've seen a lot of lists playing Chopper, and I think that's just incorrect. Like I mean, Blenheim's a Vista target as well, but the fact is that at least it has extra versatility in that you can swing with it. Like I was up against Dofi, and I actually lost to a Dofi player round 5, and I beat him in top 16. I basically realized that the Blenheim blockers, they can easily be like dealt with by stuff like Brick Fist or like Marshall B Teach. So like what you can do to get value out of them is actually just swing with them, because your opponent has to clear them basically, because otherwise you get too much utility out of them, because they end up being a blocker on your turn and a swinger on your turn. So once you swing with them, you still get a block in out of them because your opponent's forced to clear it basically. So I found the Blenheim to be really valuable. It doesn't have counter, which kind of sucks, but Marco is just insanely broken. Like once you've got Marco out, it's like it turns all of your non-counter into counter, which is insane in this deck, because your top end is so strong that the opportunity cost of playing the top end is that it doesn't have counter, and Marco just negates that. So like a lot of my end games just look like 1 or 2 Newgates on the board and like 2 or 3 Marcos, and it's just like impossible for your opponent to win at that point, because like once Moby Dick gets plus 2k to everything, not only does your Marco present a defensive threat on your opponent's turn, but it presents an offensive threat on your turn, which is the strength of this deck. So I lost in top 4 to Kinemon, and the reason that it was a really bad matchup for me was because he was able to bypass my blockers with his resting cards. So that was really the game plan of this deck, was to utilize the blockers to actually get to my 9 Newgate turn and actually put pressure on the board at the same time. So that's the idea of the deck. I dropped the squad. I found the squad to be useless. I thought that firstly it doesn't have counter, and secondly it takes a life, which you want to do sometimes, but it's only really useful in the late game. So you find yourself having the squad in your hand for the whole game and just wait until the late game, and the problem is sometimes you can't get to the late game if you don't have enough counter in your hand. And I found that the squad, it doesn't have as much utility as the ace, because the ace is doing the same job, but it's negging 2 things at the same time, and it's presenting a swinging threat on the same turn that it's being summoned. So yeah, I dropped the squads. I did play the Sanjis as an extra 2k. Like most of the lists that I've seen, they only play 8 2ks. I've gone to 12 2ks because I wanted to have the option to play like Strawbeard plays and to just counter out heavy in the early game and to be able to drop the 9 cost. And the Sanji is also a very good card to drop on your 2-don turn. Sometimes when I had the Moby Dick and the Sanji, I'll be dropping the Sanji before the Moby Dick. If I don't have anything to play on 4, I'll drop the Sanji first, I'll take a life, I'll swing for 7 on my 4-don turn, because I'll play the Moby Dick first, and then Sanji gets the 2 rested Don from the Moby Dick and he swings for 7. So getting a 7k swinger on your 2-don turn is kind of insane against a lot of decks, and Yeah, it's really good because it also turbos you to your 9 cost to your Moby Dick turn. And yeah, once they see that you're taking your own life, they're kind of apprehensive to swing into your life, so it gives you the room to play your 9 cost as well. So yeah, that's it really. 12 2Ks. I got 6 event counters. They can be bricky, but you kind of just have to hold them till the end game so that you can like survive another turn, basically. Because once you get all of your stuff on the board, you don't need to spend Don for it to swing, because it's already powered up by Moby Dick. So once you built your board, you can hold your Don up for your event counters, and it really just puts your opponent in a checkmate position, because you put so much pressure on their life that it's like, if you don't win this turn, I win. So that's the whole idea of this deck, is like you really swing face, like into like all of your bad matchups, like Dofi, Kinemon, Smoker. Like you're really just trying to swing face, and you're trying to get them down to as low a life total as possible, so that when it comes to your Moby Dick turn, you've already got a board full of threats and you're just swinging for big numbers. Tournament went really well. I played against 2 Smokers, 3 Laws. I played against 2 Zoros, 1 Dofi, and that was it, I think. Yeah.
I think that's it, yeah.
And yeah, so Law was the most represented deck, which I thought it was going to be Law and Zoro, and it was. So yeah, I think
great meta prediction.
It was a good meta call, honestly. I wish I played more Strawbeards in Swiss and in Top Cut. I only played 1 Strawbeard throughout the whole day.
Free matchup is free.
It was so free when I played it in Top Cut. It was the best 2 or 3. I smoked him 2-0 so quickly. Yeah, but I can't complain. I went up against a bad matchup in top 4 and I got knocked out, but I'm really happy with my result.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, man. Really happy with the
Look at that, it looks so good.
What a beautiful card, right?
You might find this missing after the deck profile.
Alright, bro. I mean, we could do a deal.
Yeah, I was also saying.
Well,
thanks
yeah,
so much, man. I really do appreciate it. Congratulations again.
Thank you, baby.
Any shout outs you want to give at all?
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to all the boys at the locals in London. Shout out to the guys that run the locals in London as well. Shout out to Brotherhood Locals. Shout out to Europa Gaming. Shout out to Zombie Gaming Cafe. Yeah, I think that's it, right? What else am I missing?
Darksphere, boss. Darksphere.
Darksphere's
It'll do.
Yeah, fuck Geek Retreat. But yeah, let's not talk about that. But yeah, and that's it, man. I'm not going to say individual names, but shout out to all the London lot. You know who you are, innit?
Congratulations again, man. Thank you so much for the profile.
Cheers.
Looking forward to seeing you on top tables again soon.
That's it, bro.
Subscribe, you bastards.